We're live. Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of APDT Member Spotlight. I'm Patrina Firth, I look after the marketing at APDT, and today I'm joined by Paula Stone, who's a full APDT member, and she runs Bronte's Canine services in West Yorkshire. Hello Paula.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Before we start, we'll just make sure everyone can see and hear us. It says we are going live. It says we're live. Oh, that was something weird there. Hang on a minute. Yeah, not sure what happened there, but it's fine now. That's worked fine. All right, so Paula, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, can do. I'm Paula. I'm a full member of the Association of Pet Dog Trainers since 2019. I'm going to talk more about that later. I run Bronte Canine Dog Training in West Yorkshire. I'm in Denholm, but I cover the Worth Valley as well, so that's sort of Haworth, Oakworth, Oxenhope, those areas as well, and Cullingworth. So yeah, full-time dog trainer. I work 6 days a week training dogs, and then part-time in all my free time I do a bit of farming. So we've got livestock, sheep, and we grow hay as well.
Excellent. Yeah. I think we'll put a bit in your blurb about you having a small holding, which sounds like so exciting and so amazing. And imagine the possibilities if you're a dog trainer and you've got a small holding because you've got lots of other animals to train, right?
Yeah, and people often say to me, "Oh, it's the idyllic life. It's amazing," and I'm like, "Yes, it is," and I wouldn't change it, and it's of my choice, and I love it. But there's a lot of stuff that's not seen that is far from idyllic, which I won't go
Right.
into at the minute.
Okay. So what made you want to become a dog trainer?
Wow. Well, so my background is in youth work. I've got a BA honours degree in youth work, and I was a youth worker for about 15 years. But in that time, I've been training my dogs in clubs. So it was Miko. I don't know if you've got a picture of Miko there. Shove her up.
Yeah, let's bring a little picture
Let's see
of
Miko.
Miko on.
I'll
There we
talk
go.
through. This is Miko, my husky collie, sadly departed, but was with me for 15 and a half years. Well, with me for 13 and a half. I rescued her at 2. And I thought I knew loads about dogs until I met this dog. I'd had dogs before. I'd had a lurcher from puppy, and I'd had a Ridgeback rescue. So I was thinking, yeah, I've got this dog thing sorted. It's fine. And then one day my vet said to me, "Would you take this dog on?" Because he had it in the kennels, and I said, yeah, I'll take her on, she's lovely. And she was lovely, but she was a street dog and knew nothing, and I quickly learned that I knew nothing too. So I needed some help. So I met some dog trainers and I got into dog training, and in those days, we're talking sort of 2006, something like that, there was no choice. So there was one club, it was about half an hour's drive away, and I stayed with them for 5 years, training this dog. And they were lovely people. They really wanted to help me, but sadly, Miko just didn't progress that well. And I was thinking, why doesn't it work? But I didn't know there was lots of other ways. So luckily, I found another way after a few years, and Miko quickly got to Kennel Club Gold
Oh,
within
wow.
6 months. I was like, oh my goodness. And that was using positive reinforcement. That was an APDT member. So I had an ace time with them for years and years. And then as my redundancy loomed in youth work, my partner at the time said, well, what have you always wanted to do? You should take this opportunity now. And I was like, it's dog training. So I'd been training in clubs for quite a while by the time I took the leap, and the person I was training with in Leeds supported me through it. So they gave me work placement while I studied, and then I set my own business up in 2016.
Excellent. And what dogs do you have now?
Well, we just got the one at the moment. So we've
Hmm.
got Lady Aria of Maxstone. I
Oh,
think
we've
she'll
got a
be coming up
picture.
a bit.
Yeah, let's pop a
You
little
once
picture
seen,
of
never
her on.
forgotten. There she is, Lady Aria of
Intense.
Maxstone. So she is intense. She's full on. She's my first collie. Um, she's a working line sheepdog from working parents, and that's a funny story in itself how I ended up with her, because I never wanted a collie. I was going to get a German Shepherd. That's what I'd wanted for years. And but with the sheep and everything, my friends said, do you really want a shepherd, Paula? Have you thought about a collie? And I thought, oh, well, if I did have one, I'd quite like a small, smooth-haired one. And she said, oh, look what my friend's breeding. And so someone I knew was breeding them, and that's how I ended up with Aria. And I've not looked back, really. She's incredible.
Would you consider yourself a collie person now or not? Or is that going a bit too far?
Well, I'm definitely a dog person, and I definitely love my collie. So you can definitely say those two things about me, but I certainly wouldn't rule out getting a shepherd or any other breed, really. But I'd have found a love for working. So whichever dog I get, I'd like to do some sort of work with them because I quite like the partnership side of it. So I definitely would stick to a working line, I think. But I wouldn't say I'll always stick to collies, although my next planned dog is going to be a collie.
Excellent.
So maybe I will end up being a collie.
Black and White Dog Club, one of those. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Okay, so we've got a question about any trainers, behaviourists, scientists, authors that inspired you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, I mean, even those first trainers I met, although their methods weren't as I deliver mine now, their willingness to help people was at the forefront, which is what has always been at the forefront of whatever work I do. I've always wanted to help people. So I definitely would acknowledge their input. Angela Lowry of Tail Wagger Training in Leeds, who took me under her wing, trained me up, sorted me out, and supported me in setting up the business. So definitely Angela, she's a full APDT member also. And I can't not mention Chris Mancini because she's been my tutor at APDT. She's been fantastic. She still invites me up for training days where we just have a hoot and show each other what we've been doing, and her training's lovely. But most recently, an American lady called Barb Buckmeyer, who I've been working with Aria. Well, in fact, since before Aria came into my home, I met Barb before that. So she's an American lady who specialises in positive herding. So she's definitely been a massive influence. Behaviourist wise, well, I've got a smashing behaviourist that I work with who I'm going to talk about under the science bracket. But Kate Malatrat of Contemplating Canines supported me quite a lot when I had Lenny the lurcher, and I learned a lot from her. I also met Barb through her, so I'm very thankful to Kate. And Dr. Lily Scott of Pet Learn, who is our clinical animal behaviourist. She works alongside me in classes and she does all our behaviour work. She that woman can say in 3 words what I can say in a paragraph. She's absolutely unbelievable. She's brilliant. Yeah. So those guys really. Oh, and I must mention Vicky as well. Vicky Ibbotson, local sheepdog trainer, who again has taken me under her wing and teaching me all things sheepdog, because that's what Ari is involved in now.
And of course, I don't think you can get away with not talking about the wonderful Georgia Selby, right?
Well, she's coming in later when we do the podcast bit, but yeah, Georgia Selby and I probably spend more time talking to each other about dogs and training than we do our partners, probably, about anything. So yeah, I was going to throw her into the mix later on, but yeah, definitely, of course, Georgia. Without a doubt, she'll shoot me if I don't say it.
Do you have any book recommendations, either about dog training in general or people that want to be a dog trainer, how they can learn more if they've got a dog? What kind of things do you recommend?
So there's so many. I mean, there's so many books I like, but when I was thinking particularly about people who are wanting to get into training, so I thought there's the key texts, which are really, really important. I'll try and hold this up so everyone can see.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
Yeah. Don't shoot the dog.
The dog.
Mm-hmm.
Very important book. If you haven't read it, every new trainer needs to have read that. I mean, it's getting on a bit now, is that book, but it's still worth knowing. And another classic. If you guess it before I hold it up, you win. No, there you go. The Culture Clash, Jean Donaldson. Another key text, really important book. I really like this one because it gives you examples when it discusses the learning theory. How Dogs Learn, Burke and Bailey. Fantastic text, still refer to it now. But more recently, I've been enjoying this book. It's Kamal Ferdinand's Pathway to Positivity. I really like this one because not only does it discuss sort of choosing your dogs depending on what you want to do with them and things like that, it covers the learning theory, it talks about clicker training, it's got some exercises in there, it talks about using play as reinforcement, but it's also talking about training behaviours together, so the work side of things. So that's a really good book also.
Excellent.
So many to mention.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do you have absolutely heaving bookshelves under dog books? Is that what you spend all your money on?
It is. You know what? I really wasn't into reading until I found dog training, and now I get so excited when a new book comes. I'm like, oh, I want to touch it and hold it and open the pages and see what's in the contents. Yeah, and the last 2 years of my training really have been based around a book, so I'll tell you a bit more about that later.
Cool, good. And is there a particular style? I mean, you sort of touched on it a little bit earlier about how you went from training one way. Would you say you're a crossover trainer in the way that you train now, or?
Yeah, I would really, because although when it was a balanced approach to training probably they were using. I wasn't the trainer there, I was the participant, and I actually didn't understand that there was any other way. I thought that that's how dog training occurs. I really thought that for 5 long years. So when I learned the new way, I was like, oh, there's no need to do all that other stuff because this stuff works, and not only does it works quicker. So those are the lanes I definitely made sense to me to stay within. So that's the route that I took that way, yeah. But within that camp, there's all the other types of training as well. So, I mean, I know Dr. Lily, when she's a shaper, she's a purist shaper. I use food luring and shaping as well. But I've got really into flirt pole training the last few years. So most of Aria's behaviours now have been trained with a flirt pole. So that's what I'm kind of really into at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get your head around, doesn't it? But it's finding out what works for the dog, and I can imagine for her, a flirt pole is just mega.
Oh, if the flirt pole is in town, nothing else exists apart from sheep. They top trump the flirt pole, luckily.
And what have you got coming up for us in the future? Do you want to tell us about your wonderful podcast?
Oh yeah, so we've got the podcast now. Georgia and I set the podcast up, I think it was 2020, so it was in the lockdowns, because we were just rambling on the phone all the time. We thought, hey, maybe someone else might like to hear our ramblings. Maybe they don't, I don't know. No, they do keep tuning in, so they must do. But we had a platform issue, so we have relaunched it this year, and it's much better now. So we've got a new, it's under Buzzsprout. It's called P&G Dog Training Tips. So primarily, it's Georgia and I talking over topics that might give information or advice, but mainly to pet dog owners. So that's the audience we're pitching at. We're not pitching particularly to other trainers, although there is stuff in there that people might find useful, maybe to new trainers. But that's kind of our audience. But we're also having guests on as well. So I know we've got a few booked. I can't give you the surprises away, Katrina, I'm afraid. We've got a few big guests this year, which we're quite excited about. And we try and do it as we hope to do it every month, but it's looking like every other month because it's pretty hard to fit everything in, isn't it?
Yeah. It's great doing a monthly show, but it definitely takes some time and some planning. And what else have you got coming up in your near future?
Well, so I've got all my classes that run constantly. I'm always developing those. I've been working on a bit of a project with someone else. So Barb Bookmeyer's got a new book coming out this year in the next few months called Enrichment Games for High Energy Dogs. It's a sort of alternative to the positive herding series that she's brought out, which are for people who want to learn herding behaviours and then in the second book take it onto stock. This is more of a condensed version, and it's got some new activities in it as well. It's all about getting the dogs to move their bodies in a way over things, towards things, so they're engaging body and brain in exercises. So it's like mobile brain games for dogs. But I'm going to be working on some of the video side of things for her. So I'm going to try not to use Aria too much, because she's done a lot of this stuff, and she just, when you want to show the stages of development, you get a place board out and Aria's like, I'm there. I'm like, no, I don't want to show the end of the behaviour, I want to show the stages. So I'm going to be working with Willow.
You're not going to get a puppy then? You're not thinking, well, this is my cue to get a second dog, no?
Definitely there's going to be another puppy. I'm waiting for, so there's a particular dog I love who's going to be bred soon. So I'm waiting for his offspring to be born, and then one of those will arrive, but I'm not in a rush. But in the meantime, my twin sister has a tri-male collie called Willow, who looks, she won't mind me saying, looks completely crackers. She's like this. She's got bright blue eyes as well, so she looks like a white walker. So Willow hasn't done any of that style of training before, so she's not done any flirt pole training before. She's not done any of that. We've got a few foundations to put in place first, but she's done well so far. So I think Willow's going to do the majority of that video work with me, with Aria sliding in here and there. Yeah, but obviously I've had a few offers. You can borrow my dog, you can borrow of people in the meantime, which is very kind of them. So yeah, that's mainly what I'll be working on alongside my other training stuff, and also building up the YouTube channel. I'm still building up the YouTube channel.
And in your business, you're based in West Yorkshire. What kind of work do you do there? What sort of classes do you run? One-to-ones, etc.
Yeah, so I offer one-to-ones. I think they're 6. Yeah, I do offer a session 6 days a week, one-to-one, and then I've got puppy life skills, puppy essentials, that's before life skills, then puppy life skills, then progression that goes on top of that. And they can stay in progression as long as they want, but when they're ready, they can jump up to advanced. For the ones that are in advanced, they're like my die-hard clients. They're the ones that have been with me for years, and we have a cup of tea and some biscuits. We train dogs. They get to input into the syllabus a bit more. Some of those guys are working towards competition obedience. Some of them might be doing other stuff like gun dog or whatever, but all of them have in common that they want to come socialise, learn new skills with their dogs. So it's really nice by the time they get to that point, and they all seem to stay. So that's really great feedback for me. We also do the Kennel Club Awards, so we do bronze, silver and gold. Yeah, I think that's about it. There is going to be some new stuff coming out later in the year, but I'm not sharing that yet, Patricia.
She's keeping it to herself. Yeah, you want to tell everyone and you can't.
Yeah, which is really hard for me because I'm really bad at keeping secrets.
Excellent.
Not other people's, by the way, just my own.
You want to share the joy, don't you? Share your good news with everyone.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there anybody else that you want to mention in your sort of, these people inspire me, these people, go and look them up, anything like that?
Well, I think you've got to find your people in dog training, and different people. I mean, they might all use the same methods even, but different people rub together differently. So you've got to find your people. And if you are going to set up a business, it can be quite lonely sometimes. So you need to have someone that is your person that understands. So for me, I've got Georgia. I've always had Georgia and Chris, to be fair, and they often get me on the phone or they phone me and we talk things through and we explore things, and also Dr. Lily as well. So, but you know, if you're going to do something like that, get a good team, trusted team around you. Find the people you want to work with, and use the support where you need to, because it can be a little bit lonely if you don't.
Yeah, just going back to what you said about you've got your die-hard group of clients and that you create this kind of club atmosphere. I think that's something which may have been, it's sort of gone out of fashion, you might say. I remember years ago when I took my first dog training, it was very much like that. You know, there'd be a quiz night and fish and chips, and that kind of thing. And then as dog training became more of a job for people, and I myself became a professional dog trainer, we sort of moved away from that because it was a business. But then when I started doing more social things with my clients, it's actually really, really nice and really good fun. And I don't know, I feel like we should go back to that a little bit and have more of that, just have fun and hang out and do stuff with our dogs versus here's your 6-week course, you know? Do you find that?
Yeah, definitely. And absolutely. There's definitely a place for a syllabus. And I think when people are first, whether they've got a puppy or an adult dog, when they're first joining you, there are key things that they need to be given and learn. But even if someone goes into progression class, I start to relax things a little bit, because it's all well and good. And I do like to plan. I like to have a list in front of me and I like to follow my list. But you've also got to gear things to what's in front of you, and there might be someone that's really struggling with something in there and they want, so I always say, this is what I've got planned for today. This is particularly in progression and beyond. This is what I have planned for today, but is anyone experiencing anything that they want to add to this that we can work through? And oftentimes they are. So if you're too rigid in some of your programs, I think sometimes people don't get what they need at the right time, and then it can be a problem, can't it, for them?
Yeah. It's no good turning up at classes every single week and you've got a dog which has got no recall and all you do is work on lead walking or something, you know. So it's great that you can offer that kind of a bit more bespoke but in a group setting for people. It's really nice.
I think people like that. I think they like being able to have an input into what they get as well. But I mean, the one-to-one side of things is a big part of my business as well, because that's where people can actually say, this is my issue. And then I can say, right, let's have a look. And then you can plan the hell out of it. So one-to-ones are also a really good alternative to that. But I think certainly when people have been training in a group with me for a long time, it's really easy to slot things in to your program and change them around. And then if I haven't got a video on it, because I've got videos of everything that they can request. So if I've taught them something in class, they can say, oh, can I have, I don't know, can I have the left and right, teaching left and right video? I can just send that to them. But if I haven't got the video and it's happening in class, I'll put it on the list of things I need to film. And it goes on my massive list of things I need to film.
Add another one to the list. I've also got that you've got a very funny story about your dog Miko going into unusual dog breeds at a dog show. Can you remember that one?
Yeah, this was before I was a trainer. I use this in my recall training when I teach clients now, because I think it's important for everyone's had that moment, haven't they? So Halifax Dog Show, I'm not sure when it was. It must have been 2007 or 8 or something like that. It was a long time ago. I hadn't had a long have a go agility ring there. There's over 1,000 people there. It's a big do. There's lots of different rings. Have a go agility. Oh, I'll have a go on that. That'll be fun. Pays my pound. Take Miko in, and she jumps through the hoop beautifully. And as she does, the lead slips off my wrist like that, and off she goes. Whoa, I'm free. She she ran out of the ring. There was a parade of unusual breeds in the main arena on a microphone, and all you could hear on the tannoy, there's a dog loose in the parade of unusual breeds. And it was Miko just running round, and everyone was laughing. So that's one of my ground swallow me up moments, which I guess we've all had. But yeah, that wasn't a good day. That was before I was a trainer, though. I seem to have lost your audio, Patrina.
You'd thought 3 years of doing this now, you'd know when you were on mute, right? But it happens. It's live. It's live. If anybody's got any questions, just pop them in the chat. We've got a little comment from Linda, who I'm guessing is one of your clients. Hi, Paula. Watching you from a very hot and sunny Isle of Man. Drew is barking because he can hear you. I'm guessing that Linda might be on holiday. That's a long way to do a one-to-one. So
she's Linda and her fella are competing on the Isle of Man. In fact, they've had a big win this weekend. So yeah, they're at a massive dog show on the Isle of Man. They're there for a few weeks. So that's really touching that she's watching. Hello.
Oh, it's nice to have a tune in. So where can people find out more about you? What are your social handles? What's your YouTube, podcast, all those kind of details that people need to know?
Gosh, do you know, it's unbelievable that I can actually say I have all these things because I'm a massive Luddite who's learning. So you can see me on Facebook. That's Bronte Canine Dog Training. That's sort of where I share what we've been up to. Sort of, I've got a YouTube channel. There's an amount of free content which I give to people, and there's also about 300 hidden videos which are for paying clients. So that's again Bronte Canine Dog Training. And then I've got Instagram, again, guess what it's called? At Bronte Canine Dog Training. And it's a theme, yeah, same for TikTok. So I've just started a TikTok recently. I'm getting to grips with it and learning the ropes with it. But I share lots of very different stuff there. And I do tend to put some funny stuff up there of the animals on the land and stuff, because things like that are nice for people to see. Oh, I do also have a side project called Coco Baby Miracle Lamb on Instagram, which is my pet lamb who lived with me for 5 weeks, who is you got to see it to win it, but she will be doing some training later. But there is Coco Baby Miracle Lamb. She's just set up her Instagram, so check that one out. She's got her own page now. She's a right character.
Has she set that up herself? She's got her iPhone in hand and she's done it, has she?
No, one of my clients was like, please will you set Coco an Instagram up, because basically she's 12 months old now and she should have died. She was attacked at birth by her mother, and then she got really ill and I had to nurse her and inject her back to health. Anyway, she survived. So Coco is a miracle lamb because she shouldn't be here, and she's the thing that makes me happy. If ever I'm having a bad day, she'll run up to me and she comes and cuddles me. Yeah. But I've got the whole first year of her life in video form, so I'm putting up her development for the last 12 months on Instagram, which is fun.
And I'm guessing she's not going anywhere, right? She's your lamb for life. She's your sheep for life.
Yeah. All she has to do is eat grass and survive. That's it. That's the deal. Just live, little one. So I think I am going to introduce some of my lower level agility equipment to her at some point. Because she loves to go boink. That'll be coming out. She loves to run and jump, so that'll be coming out later. Yeah, she's like bink, bink.
Well, I've just given you a follow, so if anybody else is, Bronte Canine services aside, I think everybody needs to get on and follow Coco Baby Miracle Lamb. So yeah, you've got an APDT
it's just
follow
a little
there.
Slice of happiness. Honestly, it's a little slice of happiness.
Excellent. Good. Is there anything else you'd like to add? We've got another little comment just from Linda saying she'll see you Thursday evening. Drew was placed in Class B. Woohoo!
Wow,
so that's nice.
That's amazing. That's a big jump up for them as well. That's super. Oh, bless. I'll see her on Thursday. Was there anything else I was going to tell you? I'm sure there was. No, it's gone. One of those moments.
It's gone. Do you think you've got a book in you? Any thoughts?
It's actually now you say it, Patrina, my mum and I, my dear mum, she's written the first 2 pages of the book of Coco Baby Miracle Lamb. So she's wanting to, my mum wants me to help her write a book on the sheep. But I'm sort of going for the Instagram approach on that one. Do I think I've got a book in me? I doubt it, because I really like being outside and doing stuff, and I find it very hard to sit and focus on something inside for that long. But that might change in the future.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this Member Spotlight. We've had lots of people watching. The live will also be available to watch on YouTube and on Facebook, and then we'll get a replay up as well.
Oh, thanks ever so much. Lovely to see you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.